I made a video a week or so ago about the possibility of this fight taking place, this domestic showdown at light welterweight or super lightweight, as they're calling it these days. And that is the fight between Ohara Davies and Derry Matthews, which has now been officially announced and signed, and it will take place on the undercard of the David Haye Tony Bellew fight on March 4th, which will be live on Sky Sports box office. I think it's a decent fight for Ohara Davies at this stage of his career. I don't know what the situation is with Tyrone Nurse because he is the mandatory for Tyrone Nurse's British light welterweight title. So I don't know if he has to give up his mandatory position for taking this Derry Matthews fight. I'm not sure, what's going on there. Hopefully he doesn't, because I would like to see Ohara Davies versus Tyrone Nurse. That's definitely something I'd like to see. There is a lot of mixed feelings, let's say, about Ohara Davies. A lot of people really don't like him, and so many people make the mistake of underestimating a fighter's ability because they don't like the fighter personally, in terms of his personality, the way he comes across. They don't like him. Oh, he's arrogant, he's an idiot, he's this, that, the other. Therefore, I want to believe that he's rubbish and he's not very good. The problem with Ohara Davies is that all the reports from actual professionals, people like Kevin Mitchell and many other top professionals who have been in the gym sparring him, they say that he's the real deal. And so far in a boxing ring, he hasn't put a foot wrong. So all these people saying he's not going to go nowhere and he's terrible and this, that, and the other, I think they're allowing their hatred for him to cloud their judgment. Does it mean that he don't have flaws? No, but all fighters have flaws. People are talking about Ohara Davies getting found out. What does that even mean these days? What, that he's going to lose one day? Most of the greatest fighters of all time lost. So what the hell does that mean? Found out. People just throw these terms around willy-nilly these days and it doesn't really mean anything. Found out would be him getting beat by what? A journeyman. Maybe that would be found out. But in terms of losing, virtually everybody's going to lose. I expect Ohara Davies to lose just like all the other up-and-coming fighters at some stage in their careers. But from what all the top pros that have been in the gym with him are saying is that he's actually the real deal. What I see in Ohara Davies from the fights of his that I've watched is he's obviously a work in progress. He's currently 14-0 with 11 KOs. He can look a bit clumsy maybe and a bit rough around the edges at times. But don't allow his shortcomings as a fighter, his lack of polish as a fighter, to, make you dismiss his strengths. Because he is physically strong. That's one of his strengths that I've noticed. He's got very good physical strength. He's got good punching power. And as the commentators are constantly reminding us of, he's got extremely long arms for a guy of his height. And he uses those long arms quite well. He gets extension on his shots. He gets you at the end of the shots and he rams the jab in, the straight right hand and what have you. So I actually think Ohara Davies has some potential there. I'm not sure how far he can go, but I think he's got potential. And I believe he's going to deal with Derry Matthews when they fight. Derry Matthews is a smaller guy. You have to say he's probably at the tail end of his career, although I think he's younger than I expected. I believe Derry Matthews is only 33 or something. It was me thinking he was about 35, 36. I think he's only about 33, but he's been around forever. And in boxing, it's not only your age that you have to factor in, it's also the number of fights you've had. He's not a particularly fresh 33-year-old. Let's just put it that way. He's been in plenty of wars, plenty of tough fights, and taken a lot of punishment throughout his professional boxing career. So anyway, the fight is on Ohara Davies versus Derry Matthews. Maybe some of you don't think Ohara Davies is going to go anywhere, and it's not based on you not liking his personality. But some of you may want to think, hey, okay, I don't like this guy, but am I being blinded by hate here? Is he actually a bit better than I'm giving him credit for? Because I do think that's the case with a lot of people, not just with Ohara Davies, with everybody, with any fighter that they don't like. I remember when Tyson Fury was on the way up, there were so many people that hated him that they refused to acknowledge that there was anything good about him as a fighter. It was extraordinary to me. And I was saying ever since the Kevin Johnson fight that Tyson Fury is actually very talented. That's the one fight which really convinced me that Tyson Fury had something special, the Kevin Johnson fight. A guy that big, being able to move the way he did in the Johnson fight and let off the combinations that he was throwing and all that, I was very impressed. And you can see my post-fight review for that fight on this channel. If you do a search on this channel, you'll find it and you'll see how impressed I was with him. I was very impressed. But even after that fight, there were loads of people saying, Fury's rubbish, he's not going to do nothing, he's garbage, he's this, that, and the other. Obviously, the Cunningham fight happened, he got dropped and so on and so forth, and people were just constantly bashing him in the main because they hated him for whatever reason. They had a personal dislike of Tyson Fury, the character, and that blinded them from seeing the actual talent that he was displaying in the ring. Happens with a lot of fighters. So that's my view on the mixed feelings that people tend to have about Ohara Davies. But let me know what you think about this particular fight. Ohara Davies versus Derry Matthews. Do you think Matthews can pull it off? Or do you, like me, think Ohara Davies will be too big, too young, and too strong, and that will overcome Derry Matthews' experience? So, yeah, let me know how you feel. It's your boy Hatman, I'm out.